Residents of Umdloti, north of Durban, today picketed against property developer Salta Sibaya. They claim the way their houses were constructed contributed to the damage caused by heavy rains last weekend. Numerous homes and apartments have been washed away after the showers. ENC senior reporter Dasin Tatia.
Bonjour. Hello. This is Masfin speaking. And today I came with this ArcGIS analysis. I've been comparing the ArcGIS analysis with the analysis done using the Google Earth Engine with a real-time record of flooding, inundation. So here is the ArcGIS analysis for the month of January 2022. I used that January monthly rainfall because in that area, in that region, the January and December rainfall is highest. That is most of the time. January, I found out that January and December are the highest. So just to see the higher flow effect in the catchment in the region, I use that January 22, and this is the result. The other parameters I use are the soil type, land use, slope, elevation, drainage density, proximity to the river, and so on. So I analyzed using those parameters. Rainfall as well, the January one, monthly rainfall. And as you see, the result is reliable. I mean, you can imagine that the flood occurs of the flood might, or the higher risk zones are truly by the side of the river. It's just simple, logical. So the ArcGIS has done that, analyzed, considered where the danger is. So that is it. Even it quantifies the area of the danger zone. 335 square kilometers, and also the percentage out of the total area, that is 7.5, almost 8%, from the 4,440 square kilometer area of Umugani. As Umugani catchment, I don't know locally what they call it, but I just simply say that named it after the river, Umugani catchment, because most of the catchment area flows to the Umugani, river flows of Umugani catchment. In the brown zone, you see the brown zone is a less risk zone. They might or might not be affected by the inundation. So the priority is for highest risk zone areas. Priority in a sense, preparation, protection. For example, if people are living in those areas, in very dangerous zones, they have to be removed from that area and replaced into some areas where there is no flood. I know in Ethiopia most of the time the people live in a mountainous area. That might be the reason. Maybe, you know, the no flood or something like that. That might be one reason. most of the townships or rural areas, people live in highest mountain area. One, for protection of enemy, it is easy to defend themselves if they can stay in a mountainous area. And also flooding also. They protect themselves from flooding. They are very wise. So that is it. Now also there should be a mechanism where those people are removed from those very dangerous area and move them to very stable area where there is no flood or something like that. Especially at the end of, at the mouth of Mduzi River. That is, I know it's in the Scottsdale, in Pietermaritzburg, there is a river which is called Mduzi River. That caused havoc. It is a big river actually. In the eastern side of the Pietermaritzburg may be affected by it, Scottsdale especially. And also at the end there is like a meandering river, like a wetland area where people are also living there. That area should be replaced. Yeah, that area should be protected, maybe for groundwater consumption, for irrigation or anything else, for drinking and so on. People must not live in that area. There are two advantages. People will not be affected when flooding comes, one. The other is the water, the groundwater will not be contaminated, There is toileting, streptococci bacteria. And also there is, maybe if there are some factories, everything, things or chemicals or bacteria can travel, seep into, slowly travel through time into the groundwater table, into the area, spread into the area, so that water will be unfit for drinking, or even for irrigation as well. You can't irrigate a cabbage with, water infested with streptococci. That is a major dangerous bacteria that cause disease, infection in mankind, in human beings. So that is the two advantages that you can see by removing the people from that area. All the other area. For example, you can see here the left side of the river is a lowland area, I think so, and it is going to be affected by flooding. It is a high risk zone. The other side is the mountainous area, the other side of the river, the right side just from here, and it's a mountainous area, and it is not a high risk zone. You see, it's just simple. The ArcGIS is intelligence, and you can see this in a real time in a satellite image. So this is the analysis done using ArcGIS, and it seems it is very, very dependable. Okay, you can say, it might exaggerate or not. Whatever it is, it can't be perfect, but it can help us to arrive into the estimation of the damage. That is it. So this is one thing, and you can see the other also, the real time. So this is you can see the river is just in the river. The increase of flow is indicated by ArcGIS, And those areas, affected, not much, but they are affected by the flooding. But here, this is in Gada Dam. So you can see it is included here as a high risk zone. In Dabba Dam also here. Here is in Dabba Dam is here. Is also high risk zone. And the Albert Ford and the Medemar Dam are also. And you can see here the Hilton city, Hilton. It's not affected much because of the mountainous elevation. You can see, I know from the Pietersmasburg, you see a mountain here, I see it before. And I know that is a mountainous area, and it is less affected by the flood. This indicates that it is reliable, the result is reliable. So it is dependable. You can consider this as a perfect means of a tool analyzing the flood. So let us see the real flood caused in 2002 in April. Actually, the flood occurred in April, and you can see the high risk zones are really high risk zones. They are the one that are affected by the river. Let us see. This is the image. You can see the satellite image of the catchment. This is Umdozi. Okay, this is the Mogene catchment. This is the satellite. You can see effect of the flood. This is before. The image is before in January, February, when there was no flooding at all. You see, this is the river, and you can see the image also shows us very little. I know the size of the river is also not much. But if you see after the flooding occurs, you know how the flow increases, it becomes, you can see, for example, I can show you here. Let us see it clearly first. This is before, the before image, this is before, see, before the flooding occurs. And this is after the flooding occurs. Now you can see clearly that the increase of the river flow. And as we analyzed it in ArcGIS, here it is also indicated that just the river and the river sides are high risk zones. It is the river that is increased, So the ArcGIS has analyzed it well. This is true. You can see the flood is, in areas where just by the side of, so the proximity to the river side is very, very important. The nearer it is to the river, then the damage or the flooding, inundation is higher. So that is it. You can see here. Actually, it's because it's a very big size of. You can see the existing water bodies as well. Even you can see the calculation done is 319 square kilometer the flooded area, and the ArcGIS analysis is also The high risk zones are the zones, the area of the high risk zones is 335 square kilometer. So it's almost similar. That one includes even the surface, the dam surface water, the dam water also included. So the surface area of the dam is included in that calculation. Here it is not included and it is less than 390. What does it imply? It implies that it is almost the flooded risk zone that is calculated by the ArcGIS, and the one which is flooded are almost of the same area. You can see, for example, here I have shown you mountainous area, this area, This area ArcGIS has defined as it is a high risk zone. This is a high risk zone. This one is not a high risk zone in ArcGIS. You see, the ArcGIS knows that this one can't be flooded. That's wonderful. But this one is a flood-prone area. This can be flooded, and in reality, the satellite also shows that this is a flooded zone. So the ArcGIS analysis is perfect. This is a real-time analysis. This is where the flooding occurs, this one here, real-time in April. And ArcGIS also analyzes that. And it's not only analyzed that this is a flood zone. ArcGIS also analyzed this one is not a risk zone. You have seen it in the image, I can show you the image. Again, my computer is stuck, I don't know how this one might be. Yes, you see, let me large it a little bit. You see, this area is considered as a higher risk in ArcGIS. This is wonderful. And this is not a higher risk zone, because this is a mountainous area. Then you can come and see in this real image, you can see the flooding where it occurs. What proof you can have more than this one? So both of them are reliable. Both of them are reliable. And this is a perfect analysis. You can't oppose it. Reliable. So you can, to see the flood zone, sand zone, you have to enlarge it a little. The ArcGIS also proved that this is a water body, actually, naturally exists there, but the increased area, the floods, also indicated in ArcGIS. This is the area around when the dam fills, the water goes back to the areas where, it can go up to the area where it can. Then it floods this might be people might live here. You see, this area is flooded. You can see. It's clear. We can see from the, this is an agricultural land. Maybe this is an agricultural land. It's always, whenever that might be flooded, they will not be damaged. The crops might be damaged, but you see, those areas are affected by flooding. And this is also, it means the dam has filled, and here this is townships or small city or something like that affected by the flood because of the river. There is a river here, so you can see there might be some exaggeration. I think, but still it can tell where the flood can occur, and it is true. It is true. Anyone who resides in those places or who knows where, who is a resident of this area might know exactly where the flood caused much damage. But we can say only here that is a flooding occurred in Umugani catchment. And it is wonderful. You can see the existing water surface is around 47, and the flooded area is around 390 square kilometer. That is in hectare. We can change it in square kilometer, and we can subtract from the one which is 335 in the ArcGIS analysis on a square kilometer can be. The water body also included in that calculation, so you can decrease the water bodies here. Almost 49, but for the dam, the water body which is inside the dam, much less than 47 actually, because this includes the river also. This is a river. It also includes this, so it is much less than 47. Let us assume it is 30 or 20 maybe, because it includes this water body as well. Much of the river. So let us assume there is a water body, here. So that is also considered or included in this. So let us say it is 20 in 20, subtracting the 20 from 335, it may be 315 or 19, similar with this one. So it's almost the same. It's perfect. It is perfect. So that is it. We analyzed the river, the real river in Umugani catchment, and the analysis that is done with ArcGIS. So both are support, they support each other. You can analyze with ArcGIS, and you can analyze it with the satellite image, Google Earth Engine, and you compare it, and it will help for decisions. Decisions, in a sense, you decide to develop something. For example, where should we give priority to construct a river train work, you might say. Then you can you can consider both and see if you can put it here, and you go to the site and study the site, investigate, measure the length where you can put the river train walk, the depths, and calculate now. Maybe you can use gabion, or you can use also natural protection methods. You know what? Here in Switzerland, what they do is they simply instead of gabion, they use some tree, natural tree, and the tree ultimately will form. Will be a form. It will be slowly decompose, and it will hold the wall. from erosion and so on. Or they also put some fabric, say like some kind of fabric. I mean, they just simply plant trees also. The tree will hold the soil so that it will reduce erosion and so on. So most of the time along the rivers you see some rivers. Those rivers help to maintain, to protect soil from erosion, so that the river will not actually change its course and so on. It will follow the same course. So it will also reduce, the trees will also increase the roughness and, the banks, and then they will resist, so that it will reduce the flow velocity, will reduce. And, as a whole, it will reduce the havoc that may occur or the damage that may cause to the buildings around the rivers. So that is it. You can see also here the Imdiloti, North Durban, which I did. Simply, I just selected those areas, just sketched an area, simply to see if the effect of the river. I saw in manifestation in Durban area, the people who are manifesting said that it is the developers who caused the flood, something like that. It's true. It's true, because this flooded area is a development area. People are developing, constructing building and so on. So it means they are
just a quiet place that is often very popular in the Durban area. Now, residents have been badly affected here as a result of the recent storms in April, but once again, during the rains that came over the past weekend, there have been numerous homes that have been hit as a result of those rains. Residents have had to be evacuated in some cases, and in other instances there have been structural collapses, mudslides, and other problems that they've been facing. The reason for this protest is because they claim that two new developments that are at the uppermost part of this area are allegedly responsible for the problems that they are facing. And as a result of that, they want answers from the developers. They want to know what's going to be done. We did engage with some of the residents earlier. I'm now going to take you to Mr. Roger Downs, who's with Mtloti Letting and Sales. Sir, how are you?
Good, as good as can be. But
yeah, we've been speaking a lot about the impact of the recent rains, and many residents saying that they believe that it has something to do with these developments that are up here at the top. Why is that?
look, I don't believe these guys did it on purpose, but the reality is they were very careless and gung-ho, and they just cleared a lot of the vegetation away. There must be a couple of hundred acres here of vegetation that's been totally cleared away. So the soil has no protection whatsoever, and the soil, as a result, just comes swept into the town. And has caused, apart from the financial implications, it's been a tragedy, absolute tragedy for people who've lost their lives. Nobody's lost their lives.
Compacting might be necessary to build here because the soil is sandy loam or something like that. It's very vulnerable soil. It's very, loose soil, you can say, sandy soil. So you need to have compaction, a deeper foundation as well. Yeah, so that in the future, there will not be, settlement and so on. You need to, the buildings must not be settled, There might be settlements But if there is a different settlement, in one side, not in the other side, if it settles, even 5 centimeters, the building will crack. It will be dangerous. It will be useless. So we have to ensure the foundation is sound, solid, and also we have to implement mechanisms that the building must not settle in a manner that separately. There should be some kind of a grid beam on the column. There should be a grid that connects everything. When it settles together, you know. But anyhow, here, because of the settlement here, because they settle, because of they compacted the soil, they disrupt the natural hydrological processes. So the water infiltration decreases, and as a result, flooding can occur. They facilitate flooding. So that is because most of the time, whenever we develop an area, we have always, we need to consider the existing structures. Maybe those existing structures might be designed for a different kind of discharge or something flow. We need to adjust those areas, or we need to construct some temporary dam and release the water slowly so that the existing structure can accommodate the coming flow, you know. That is, most of the time, the development of an area will create an havoc, disruption, and different thing, you know. Everything will be disrupted. You know, the designers thought something different before. Now there is another or an increase in the water flow because of this, because of the developing an area where we compact the soil and so on, you see. So this is in the Loti, and in Loti, you know, because of this area, much of the water accumulated and flows into this area, and affects these buildings, you know. It washed these 2 of the buildings, I think, and also this area were flooded, and the flood passes through into these buildings. That is, it's clearly caused by this development area, and the manifestors are correct, I think. So that is it. You can see here, you can see the before and the after. For example, this is the before the inundation occurs. And this one is after the inundation occurs. You can see the increase of the river, you know, the flow increase, and it widens, you know, it comes very big water. And also, you can see this one, this area were not flooded before, it is free. After the flooding area, it is flooded, you can see it here, perfect. So you can calculate also the area, you can separately take this area and calculate how much area it is. And you can see the flood, you know, and now you can calculate the area if you want. And then this is existing water. This is existing water, but this is actually, it must exist here because this is the sea, and you know, the sea can traverse through this. There might be a bridge here, and it goes on until it's level, you know, 0 level. Sea level is 0, and until it reaches to all 0 levels here, or below 0 level. It goes there, and it exists always. On the other side, the river of the The other side of the river, this the upper stream side, might not have water always. Maybe in the summer it might be dry, but in the rainy season it might be flooded or may have some kind of flow. So this is one thing. And you can see that it is true. Well, this analysis is perfect because, for example, this is truly a water body, you know. And the satellite recognize that. It's a water body. And you can see this is a water body. You know, you can see that this is the increase in this area because of the rainy season, you know, filled up to this area. That is flooding. This one is flooding. The increase, you know, is separately considered. This one is a natural water, you see. So this is a reliable also. It's very wonderful. Thank you for listening. That is about flooding in Djibouti and also in Umagani River, as compared to the ArcGIS analysis. So we have a very nice and better tool now to say something about the flood and to do our prevention mechanisms, to construct, to divert. Sometimes they divert here, for example. If so, water might flood the area. If there is very likely to flood that area, what they do is they do a tunnel here and mix to the bigger river. Instead of allowing it to pass through the ville to the city or something like that and cause havoc, you know. For example, one thing I have studied before here in Geneva is, you know, the water flows through the tunnel, and that tunnel couldn't accommodate above 60 meter cube per second of water. Any discharge that comes above that, it will flow over top the tunnel, and it will flood inundate the village. City, it's a city. And that area needs to be protected. How? They devise a mechanism of diversion. They construct the tunnel, and they made a shortcut to the biggest river. But naturally, it goes through the Kwaruj and Long, and ultimately it flows into the bigger river, you know. But it may cause havoc, so what they have done is just create a tunnel. So the tunnel, they divert the water. Half of the water goes through the... So whenever flooding comes, some part of the flood will go into the tunnel and next to the bigger river. Hence, the tunnel and the entrance to the tunnel always be maintained 60 meter cube per second or below that. It's the same here. If a river might cause havoc, then we can make sure that the guys who are at the downstream side are prevented or should be prevented. Then we can divert that, you know, divert that into a bigger river where that might cause havoc or destruction in the people's life. So that is it. Hallelujah. Ciao. Merci beaucoup for